nice, glassy, foggy start this morning on our way to Mackinac Island. Left about 8:15 this morning, 8:30. Should get there around 2:30. Definitely see how you get some ships getting in accidents though. Pretty good fog, not bad fog, but man, is it flat. So, no joke, July 1st.
I'm still alive.
Everybody, yeah, Lisa's still alive. And yeah, it's kind of cold. You know, Lisa's actually put on a t-shirt. We had tanks when we started this morning, thinking it was going to be warm out here. It ain't. So, we're continuing on. We'll keep videoing, but yep, still here, still traveling along. So much for our leisurely pace. We got a thunderstorm coming in, so we put on the reason we got a boat that can actually do some speed. We're doing 17 miles an hour roughly. Try not to burn too much fuel, but we need to get a move on to beat the thunderstorm coming up on Traverse Bay. Southern point of Voice Blank. Just rounded it. Working our way up. At this speed, 16, 17 miles an hour, got another 45 minutes. We'll get ourselves there. We've had a couple issues with cracked isinglass. The repair is you drill a hole at the end of the crack, and then what we're doing is putting clear Gorilla Tape over the top of it to keep it from cracking any further, and to keep it from, you know, moving around and letting water in and everything else. And unfortunately, this happened because we opened up the eisen while we were under a little bit of speed, and this one blew back and snapped in the corner and cracked away. But this repair will get you, I don't know how long it'll last, but we already did one and it's already survived a week now. But putting the drill holes in at the end of the crack stops it from going any further. Well, we arrived on the island today, July 1st. Here you see the Mackinac Straits. I had no idea that all the northern Great Lakes traffic passes by here. The island is also the finish line for the Chicago to Mac race. The race starts on July 10th this year and should finish on July 11th. This is the largest freshwater race in the world.
She's like cruising. I'd say she, but the first one's cruising.
And you got that one boat running right beside it too. It's like, hey, he's right there on top of it. And I can't tell which Viking that is. A little bit of activity in the channel. Mackinac Strait here. It's like, holy smokes. Traffic jam. Mackinac Island is approximately 84% of state park, leaving the remaining 16 for businesses and private property. M185 is the Michigan State road that services the circumference of the island. As with Gilligan's Island, no phones, well, at least 5G internet, no lights, no neon, and no motor cars. The British commanded the island twice and gave it up twice. The island has nearly 600 full-time residents and grows to between 15 and 20,000 per day during the summer. You can't leave without fudge and a stop at the Pink Pony. In 1929, Park Commissioner Roger Andrews invited 8 Eagle Scouts, including the future president Gerald Ford, to serve as the Governor's Honor Guard and tour guides at Fort Mackinac. Scouts raised and lowered the colors daily and fired the sunset gun. They stayed in the fort commissary until moving into these barracks built in 1934. The building was constructed by the Mackinac Island Civilian Conservation Corps unit, many of whom were World War I veterans. In 1938, the program began to include Boy Scouts at all levels. Additions to the barracks were completed in 1961 and in 1975. They followed the style of the original building. At the urging of Michigan First Lady Helen Milliken, Girl Scouts joined the Scout Service Program in 1974. Here you see Troop 327 from Grosse Pointe, Michigan, taking care of all the honors and duties required by the Scouts on the island for the week that we were there, July 1st.
Cover the touch hole at the back of the cannon. Meanwhile, Kyle is inserting the wet sponge into a bucket of water and then down the bore, dousing the barrel of any potential flames or embers from any of our previous shots today. That is going to make sure the cannon is safe to load. The next command is sponge. The wet sponge is twisted and pulled out of the cannon. As he does this, Maverick's going to insert our charge, which today is about 5 ounces of black powder. Now it is wrapped historically in authentic aluminum foil for fire safety reasons, but it does still get the job done. There's less fire hazards below. So now on the command of ram. That charge is rammed to the back of the cannon towards the breech end just underneath the Christian's thumb. Once they've done this, I can now give the next command of ready. So the 2 men will step out of the wheels and roll the cannon up to the wall. That way the barrel is just over it, making it a little bit safer for our hearing back here. More fun for the folks downtown, of course. And with this, Christian is now going to prime the cannon by inserting the primer down through the touch hole to poke a hole at the top of the charge, and then insert our ignition system. Now we use the exact same technology they would be using with these cannons at this point, what's called a friction primer. It's a copper tube full of black powder with a pin that is embedded in the side, and connected to the two is a friction-sensitive chemical known as fulminate of mercury. And when this chemical is introduced to friction, in our case by having that lanyard pull the pin out at high speed, that will cause sparks to ignite the very small charge of gunpowder inside of the tube, shooting a jet of flame straight down into the main charge, setting off the cannon just like this. Now, naturally speaking, this is in fact a cannon. It goes kind of without saying, it will be a little loud. I recommend either plugging your ears or pressing record, whatever you find more important in life, I suppose. All of that being said, there's just one command left to give. Fire!
You know what I mean? Just Rick kept. I'm like, dude, as soon as it dove, I was like, who's power? And I ran to the back because I knew it was, what was doing it. They were all looking at me all fucking weird. I was like,
The Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island opened on July 10th, 1887. Built in just 93 days as a luxury summer retreat for the Gilded Age travelers. Founding was by 3 transit companies, the Michigan Central Railroad, Grand Rapids and Indiana Railroad, and the Detroit and Cleveland Steamship Navigation Company. It features a 660-foot long front porch overlooking the Straits of Mackinac. It can also overlooks the town below and the Mack Bridge. Up on the hill where the red building is a town called Harrisville. This is where most of the horse stables and seasonal workers are located. You see here also a pool. It's for guests only. Included in here for the stay at the Grand is a 9-hole golf course called the Grand. A phone booth was added by a groundskeeper. He saw them disappearing in England and decided it would be a good ad to have for the visitors. And seems to work out. They have a lot of photos being taken there. The Jockey Club originated as a golf course snack bar, and now it's an excellent dining spot. That's located right there where that red phone booth is. In the lawn, you'll find a lawn chess board with lawn pieces, sculptures, and flowers. Party and Biff. Howdy.
Hi.
Hello! Riding our bikes on Mackinac Island. Just going around on the road. Checking out the scenery. It's so weird not have to worry about cars. Mackinac Island first appeared about 11,000 years ago, after the first ice age. Over thousands of years, erosive waters of post-glacial lakes gradually sculpted arches, caves, and wave-cut cliffs. The island's oldest formations include Sugarloaf Skull Cave, Cave of the Woods, and Crack in the Island. Arch rock formed about 4,000 years ago as ancient Lake Nipissing eroded softer material from the adjacent cliffside. Other features from this era include Robinson's Folly, Friendship's Altar, and Gibraltar Crag below Fort Mackinac. Mackinac's other fort. Military planners realized the defensive potential of this, the highest point on Mackinac Island, as soon as soldiers were posted here in 1779. During the War of 1812, British soldiers constructed a small fort here to complement the defenses of Fort Mackinac. Named Fort George, the British used the post to help defeat an American attack in the summer of 1814. After the war, the island and forts of Mackinac were returned to the United States. American soldiers renamed the small post Fort Holmes in honor of Major Andrew Holmes. So 6:30 to 8:30 on Thursday nights. They have music. 6:30 to 8. 6:30 to 8. They have music in the park at Mackinac Island. So if you're here on a Thursday at Mackinac Island, make certain you have your calendar open for this hour to hour and a half to sit back in the park and just relax and listen to music. Guess what? I missed it.
I'm not sure if somebody particularly wants to lead it. We're gonna have all y'all line up on the water with each of the stuff.
Awesome seats for the Mackinac Island fireworks. Dockside. Front row seat, we could see everything taking off from the actual barge out there. Whoops, there we go. Look at that. That's the way it's supposed to work. Oh yeah. There's dueling fireworks here. There's the west side of the island has their own set of fireworks too, for I imagine the patrons of the hotel. So they have their own special fireworks. We get this in the bay, or on the straits actually, and they get that at the hotel. Crazy.
Gary's coming in. Jeez, Pete.
It is now July 5th, and we're going to move on to Petoskey, Michigan. See you in the next episode.